The advice I got actually is a practical advice from my father, who was not an artist at all. I remember at very early stage, I had like someone came to the studio to buy a drawing, and then I put up like lots of drawings, like let's say like here, for this person to choose. And my father said you should not have more than 5 drawings, because how can someone choose from more than 5 works? Even though you get a very practical approach. And
I wanted you to take note what he said at the beginning, that his father told him, don't put more than 5 pieces of art. And you might wonder what does he mean about that? Well, if you're putting out so much art and you have many choices for a person to choose from, they get overwhelmed. If you ever notice at like McDonald's or any fast food restaurant, usually a really good fast food restaurant has not that many options and choices on their menu. And if they did, you always would notice they'll scale back down to having just simple choices. So that way it doesn't, number one, overcomplicate the orders for the customer, and as well as dealing with employees and training, it just makes it easy. So when dealing with a client and customers who's choosing your art piece, which also this will ties into music, I'm going to explain that too. You want to be able to present them something that way they're not overwhelmed. Now, how does this relate to music? I have a theory. No one wants to hear about a full-length project anymore. Like those days right now are over for a new artist. Like if you're not established artist that has a big fan base, you might as well say forget about it. You should probably focus on singles. And there's no right or wrong, but I will say personally, if I were you, I would focus on singles, EPs, and deal with somewhere from 5 to 7 tracks of a project. Why? Because if you, oh shit, God, that was my light. But anyways, if you, dang, what was that at? You want to start with a project. A good length of a project is about 5-7 songs. If you're doing a project, I've noticed where labels who bringing out artists that doesn't have a huge fan base but that are trying to get them to grow, they usually typically don't put out a lot of music on the projects. They usually do around 5 to 7 songs. Reason why is because you got to account for studio time, music, and all the money that's put behind it to push these songs. And if you got a bunch of songs on a project and you're just throwing them on a project and then no one's really going through and listen to all of them, then you're pretty much just wasting songs. So the best thing to do is to put out a project. I'm a project person, so this is why I'm focusing on doing. You want to put out about like 5-7 tracks on a song. You could probably get away with 8. Try to keep it as short as possible, and this would kind of make it where people are more open to listen to a project, because they're like, okay, it's only 5-7 tracks on there, compared to if they see 14-15 tracks, they might get a little bit overwhelmed and like, well, I'm not gonna listen to all of these. Yes, you're a new artist, but I don't know who you are, and I'm not a fan. You haven't even shown me anything yet, so I'm gonna just give a few listens and then see what I like. If you guys enjoyed this, man, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. I do make a lot of videos about inspiration and creativity. This your boy K Dre. I am out.